What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, along with Kristen. This is Flix Fix. After a long set of weeks off, we are finally back, and we're finally doing the long-awaited, long-promised Joker trilogy. Kristen, what's up?
Hey, everybody! It's been a while.
It's been a while, and to be fair,
like I forgot one weekend, and then Spaz couldn't do it 2 weekends in a row, and then I couldn't, and now we're here.
I was going to say, it's been a fair chunk of me screwing up this time, so as much as I pick on Kristen, when it's me, I got to pick on myself, which is awkward. But we are, in fact, here, and we are doing a new trilogy. It's not a straight-up trilogy like we did before. It's not the straight-up Godzilla trilogy. It's not the straight-up Alien trilogy that didn't finish because I lost the recordings and I'm an idiot. We are doing a trilogy leading us to the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. But that is not in and of itself a trilogy, so I just picked the other two Batman movies that have a Joker in them, and we're going to do Batman 89, or just Batman, nothing else after Batman. Tonight, whenever we record next, we are going to do The Dark Knight, and then we are going to do Joaquin Phoenix's Joker to sort of round out the trilogy. I'm sure somewhere along the way we'll make some kind of mention of Mark Hamill's animated Joker, of Jared Leto's really, really super popular Joker from Suicide Squad, but that's not what we're tackling tonight. We are tackling the original Batman from 1989, Tim Burton, Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson. Kristen, your thoughts?
I thought it was pretty good, actually. Spaz thought I was going to shit all over it.
I thought you were going to say it's campy as hell.
It is campy as hell, but it's like a good kind of campy as hell.
And see, this is where
I was telling Spaz, I feel like, to me, it's the happy medium between Christian Bale super gritty realism Batman, and I forget who directs those other ones, but I just call these Batman movies the Batman movies with the bat nipples and the
Joel Schumacher Batmans.
Yes, the Joel Schumacher Batmans with bat nipples and the crazy psychedelic lights. I feel like they're super super crazy and wacky.
We don't talk about the Joel Schumacher Batmans.
Those are the first ones I watched, is the Joel Schumacher Batman. So they have a very odd place in my heart, just because they were the first Batman I watched. But I feel like this one's a good happy medium between those two extremes.
And see, it's funny, because if you look at them in sets, like the Christian Bale Batmans were like a set of three. These ones here, like the two Tim Burton Batmans and the two Joel Schumacher Batmans, are supposed to be one continuous timeline of 4 movies. Which doesn't make
and the only thing that's the same is Alfred.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that in a second, but I
would just like to add at the very beginning of this, I'll go ahead and say the most unrealistic thing about this entire movie is in a movie with a man that runs around in a bat suit that knows karate and has has like a plane and a jet engine car, fighting against a clown supervillain with a retractable gun. The most improbable thing in this whole movie is the relationship between Batman and his lead.
Yeah.
They went on one date. One.
Oh.
Like, but I love you. They're like, we just have to love each other. You went on one date.
We're going to touch on this, because I will say right off the bat, and this is why I love this, and we as we go on, I think we're going to run into more situations like this where Kristen literally tonight, I believe, saw this for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on
about 10 minutes ago.
I grew up on this movie.
Is this what you felt like love was? I now know why a generation of men have unrealistic expectations about love. No,
but as I say, we are doing this. We're sort of doing this as a comparison as a whole. But the tie through here is the Joker. Whereas a lot of people are using Heath Ledger as the measuring stick for their particular Joker and what Joker is. I measured Heath Ledger against Jack Nicholson, and they're both great. But they're about as far away from each other as we can get.
Yeah.
Two really, and I didn't realize this at the time. I didn't realize this until I started more recently talking to my friends and obviously getting to know the actual comics, because we've done this before. I like comic book movies, but I don't exactly read comics. Two huge points of contention for this movie coming right out of the gate. One, getting rid of the Joe Chill element and rewriting Joker as literally the person that kills Bruce Wayne's parents. Twisted a lot of people up. And the fact that Joker has an origin story at all versus a lot of other movies, specifically Dark Knight, where he's the guy that literally came out of nowhere. I'd love to get, because you are further ahead in Batman watching, I'd love to get your thoughts on those two particular changes to the mythos.
Now, see, when it comes to a lot of comic book stuff, I don't mind a lot of the changes in the stuff like that. I'm not a purist when it comes to stuff like that. I felt like he didn't need I felt like he killed my parents thing kind of came out of nowhere in the movie. I don't feel like, he's Batman. I don't feel like he needed a reason to fight the Joker other than, the Joker's fucking crazy and he's killing people with chemicals and shit.
I think way back.
It also is a weird point of contention for me. It makes it to where clearly in this universe, Joker is significantly older than Bruce Wayne. Because what? So you're guessing at their ages in this. I'm not sure right off the top of my head what age Bruce Wayne is canonically when his parents die, but in the movie he looks like he's about 10, 9, 10, something like that. And the Joker looks like before he's the Joker, looks like he's 17, 18 at the least.
Yeah, which isn't, like, the older you get, the less relevant an age like that is, but you are right. You are setting a precedent where Joker is somewhere to adulthood when Batman is close enough to a child that he runs away and gets to file it under childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
I actually hadn't thought about it.
That felt weird because then I know Michael Keaton in this one looks younger than Jack Nicholson, but not by that much.
No.
But whatever.
I hadn't even thought about the age thing. What I think is it speaks to where we are in comic book movies now, where everything is kind of connected and everything is kind of continuous. Whereas you look, obviously, back in '89, yes, there were sequels. We got Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, the Burton-ness to the Schumacher-ness to everything going forward. But stories were pretty self-contained. So to have the movie start off with, hey, this guy killed my parents when I was a kid, to, spoiler alert, we killed him at the end, it makes it one nice, easy, everything comes full circle story. Now, especially now, with where Joker sits in the Rogues Gallery, you would never have a Batman movie end with Joker dying. Because he's
but people never die, especially in DC Comics. It happens in Marvel Comics as well. People never die. DC Comics, I think, is worse about it than Marvel is, although, it's comics. Nobody ever dies. But
you could have other people die.
Off the Joker here, that wouldn't have bothered me. It wouldn't have been like if they killed off the Joker and then the next movie they'd been like, we found a way to bring him back. All right, whatever.
Well, he pretty much got a concrete facelift. Spoiler for the end of the movie, but I get what you're saying. But the way this movie leads off is you definitely killed the Joker. Anybody making a movie these days, just because take all the entire Rogues Gallery, and the Batman Rogues Gallery is huge, but the tip of that pyramid is the Joker. I don't think, because people are always thinking about continuation these days, I don't think anybody would write the death of the Joker these days. But you know what? It told a
It is a little weird that Batman's whole thing is that he doesn't kill people, and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill him though.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about the Christian Bale Batmans sometime later on in not the movie that we're gonna talk about, but in Batman Begins, he has that whole scene with Ra's al Ghul. It's I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you either. They do on the regular right away around that I don't really kill people thing. So I don't know about that. I just think it's weird. It's very, compared to what we get now, where everything is a cinematic universe. Thank you, Marvel. I think it's very intriguing to look back on this sort of like, hey, this story exists in a bubble. There's a beginning, middle, and end. It's sort of refreshing in a way.
I like it.
I haven't watched this movie in forever, and looking back on this for me is like, you have a picture of a movie, like when you grow up with a movie, you have a picture of it in your head, and then you go back and actually watch it again, you're like, God damn, this is cheesy. Like you say, it's the good kind of cheesy.
I think it's the good kind of cheesy.
But holy crap, is it cheesy. Like, it's the Joker, so obviously all of his minions are driving like purple and green cars, and
they're like running around with boom boxes and shit, and like dancing and.
Oh, some of that is a sign of the times. Let's be real. Like, some of that is literally the times that the movie was made in. Just the way they play with color. I've put it in my notes here. The Tim Burton-ness hangs heavy over this.
There is a lot of Tim Burton-ness.
Like, you couldn't be any more Tim Burton if you made this movie out of clay. Like, at some point we're going to have to do Batman Returns, and it gets even more Tim Burton-y. But this is about as Tim Burton-y as it gets. Like, just
We're
the
doing
vibe.
Batman Returns. I'm making you watch the Schumacher Batman.
Oh, good lord. We're doing the Joker stuff right now. We'll do like weird sequels that were better than the original. We'll do something like that eventually.
Okay.
I think what's happening is my brain is just not letting me do like one movie at a time. We have to group them together in some kind of way, and maybe that's just more a psychological dive on my part. Moving on. Let's talk about the cast. Let's talk about the cast. Michael Keaton as Batman, obviously. Jack Nicholson as Joker, obviously. Kim Basinger as Vicki Vale is... It's a bad romance from beginning to end.
Oh, it's a horrible romance.
But
also,
like,
I was by the end of it, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. She's a crazy chick. She wears a white dress in basically almost every scene.
And we're gonna talk about it later, but like low key, she basically becomes a stalker.
Mm-hmm.
Like before.
Oh, that bitch is crazy.
Way before like
one date.
Way before she's got any inkling that he might be Batman, she's 100% stalking him,
following him around,
researching his parents and shit. But no, like Kim Basinger, like especially like if you think back like 30 years or whatever it is. Like, Kim Basinger is a pretty big name. Like, we talk about big names in comic book movies now, whereas there weren't that many big names in comic book movies back in the day. Like, Kim Basinger is a pretty big name. You got Michael Gough, who you've already mentioned before, who is the only tying thread between all four of these particular Batman movies playing Alfred. This is the Alfred that I grew up on. It's the same as...
same.
It's the same as Joker for me. Like the Joker I grew up on was Jack Nicholson. Michael Keaton, I'll give you Christian Bale over Michael Keaton. I will. He's great. Mm-hmm. Christian Bale is I think elevated that role.
My first Batman was Val Kilmer. For some reason, in that when you watch the Val Kilmer Batman, all I can ever look at is his lips. Like he does, his lips look weird.
Okay,
like
Val Kilmer,
like plastic.
Val Kilmer and George Clooney, like we don't need to talk about them, like ever.
Well, we are if we're going to talk about those Batmans at some point.
No, I think I almost refuse.
No, you can't refuse. Not after you made me watch that awful third Alien movie.
Yeah, but you know what? That recording disappeared, so it's almost like
it doesn't matter. You still made me watch it, and now you made me watch it for no fucking reason because we didn't.
No.
The recording didn't even. You made me watch it for no reason.
No,
we are watching those Batman.
We've got the quote that you're going to hold over my head forever out of that recording. It's fine.
Yes, but nobody believes me, so
I'm openly saying it. Alien 3 is basically the Shawshank Redemption. Moving on. Here's the funny one. Here's one of those things that just makes me laugh and makes me realize that like movie makers don't really have a plan. Billy D. Williams plays Harvey Dent in this movie.
Yeah, I know.
Billy D. Williams.
It took us a couple minutes. I'm like, I know who that guy. Who is that guy? And then Travis had to look it up. I'm like, oh.
Billy D. Williams is like we got Landau from
Lando.
from Star Wars, basically which is fine, except when you go 3 movies later and all of a sudden he's Tommy Lee Jones.
I mean, the job runs on you, man. It's a shit, yeah. Stressed him out so much it made him into a grumpy white man.
It drained the color out of his face. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Being district attorney of Gotham City is that stressful.
Okay, so for the record, Kristen said that, not me. Kristen said that, not me.
Like for the when Obama was first starting as president, and he was like young black guy, cool black guy with like dark hair and everything, and then like after 8 years, like he has the deep wrinkles and like his hair's basically white. That's what this is, except it also turned him white as well.
Yeah, but after the following election, orange was the new black.
That's how that's how fucked up Gotham City is.
What? Gotham City went from Obama to Trump. So Tommy Lee Jones is Donald Trump? Is that what we're?
Yes.
Was that? Oh.
No.
Okay.
No, it's whatever. Continue.
Well, he does become a bad guy, so I guess in most people's minds.
Okay, then yeah.
Okay, so I said this to you before we started recording, and I'm going to say it to our audience now. Usually I take notes. Usually I've got, like, the entire story basically written out, and we go through it kind of beat by beat. I forgot how much this movie is just, let's check in on these people, then let's check in on these people, then let's check in on these people, and let's go back to these people, and let's see what they're doing, and back and forth, and back and forth. So this is going to be a little bit more spotty, a little less rigid in its structure than what we've usually done in movies. Which is ultimately kind of a good thing, because I think we can just sort of talk about the general beats rather than then they said this, then they said this. The opening scene, though, or the opening credits piece, right, has what I call the original Batman score, which is amazing, and it's just the camera swooping through all the different creases and crevices of the Batman logo, and just letting the orchestration swell up, and it's not even part of the movie, but I love the entire score from this movie whenever you get the proper Batman score in there, because I know they brought a little clip of it back for use in Justice League when he showed up on the roof. So that's how good this score is, that they brought it back for a completely different reality, a completely different set of Batman movies, and things are falling down. Awesome.
Breaking stuff.
Yep. The Doomy clipboard of doom fell down, so sorry guys. And then we open up on a pretty innocuous robbery scene, which if you're watching this movie for the first time, you would think is the Bruce Wayne's parents' story, but it's not. It's just... I
thought it was, and I was like, oh wait, he called him Jimmy.
It's just random people getting mugged.
Yep.
Totally random people getting mugged, and Batman doesn't even save them. It's not the introduction of Bruce Wayne.
He doesn't even get their stuff back either. He's just stop being a dick.
But like, there's two different tropes that they could go with here, right? Either it is Bruce Wayne as a kid watching his parents get killed, which happens in every other movie, or it's the generic first scene where we introduce the hero. Neither one of those happens. It's just this shitty family, and again, talk about, like, you know, the times that we're in and stuff like that. The kid coming out of the theater with the friggin' folding map that's, like, bigger than him. And it's like, we can't get lost, we can't do this, we can't do that, we missed out on our cab.
Stop looking like a tourist, and then we go into the deepest, darkest alley we could find.
I was gonna say, they missed the first, and I'm nitpicking now, they missed the first cab, and their solution for that is to run down an alley away from the street, not stay on the street where more cabs will definitely show up.
When Batman shows up in this scene, my boyfriend Travis pointed out, and then we couldn't stop seeing it the entire movie. Michael Keaton can't turn his head.
No, he can't.
In the bat suit, he has to turn his entire body. Even when looking up later on in the movie, he's going up some stairs and he has to lean back to look up.
I will tell you when
that can only fight things directly in front of him at eye level.
I will tell you, most people listening know that I work in a warehouse, and a couple of Christmases ago, I flat-backed on the pavement in front of my house because I hit an ice slick, and stupidly went to work anyway. All the muscles in my back locked up, and I couldn't really turn my head too much. I had to drive a forklift basically the way Batman is today. Like, if I wanted to turn left or right, I had to tilt my shoulders one way or the other. So I kind of know what it's like for Michael Keaton to be in that Batsuit. It's been talked about.
I'm just saying, okay, outside of that's funny, Michael Keaton can't do it. From a in the movie standpoint, why would a superhero make a costume that he can't turn his head in and has no peripheral vision? That seems stupid.
Well, let's just think about it for a second, and let's give credit where it's due. This version of Batman doesn't have a Lucius Fox helping him out.
That's true. That makes it even worse.
Because doesn't in the Christian Bale Batmans, doesn't he go to him at one point asking for a modification, and he says, "You want to be able to turn your head, don't you?" And he says, "Yeah, it would make it easier to get out of my driveway."
Oh, I don't remember. It's been so long since I've seen that one. I don't remember.
See, I don't remember actual plot points. I just remember stupid shit like that. What I love about this, though, is it's stupid, like, cliche gangster number 3 and 4 sitting up on the roof counting their shit. And it's that conversation that all the criminals have to have when Batman's first becoming a thing. And,
Batman's not real.
Batman's not real. There ain't no bat. And the guy that's saying it, that there ain't no bat, he's got the cigarette, and it keeps flipping every time he talks to, like, sort of back up, like, every syllable of what he's saying, and it always makes me laugh. But then you have Batman showing up, and that same guy gets lifted up by his lapels, like, right up against a wall, and you get the one moment that we have to have in every Batman movie, because I think...
Who are you?
I'm Batman. And it's the like comical distorted Batman.
It's the non Christian Bale. I'm Batman though.
Yeah, but it is the comically, like, I'm being low on purpose, like, before that even became, like, a recognized thing. It's, I'm Batman. Like, it's all good. We go from there. They get the crap kicked out of them, and they sort of start spreading the word about Batman, and I do have to lean... much as I know people hate this, I do have to lean on CinemaSins for this. If you wanted to get the word out that you're going to be this new law enforcing body in the city and all that sort of thing, why did you wait until now? Why did you not? Because you see him looking down on the alley while it's happening. So why would you not stop the robbery from happening? If you wanted.
Batman's a dick.
Apparently, Batman's a dick. Okay, Kristen's got it. Okay. We flip over, we see...
He doesn't care about that. He just wants to beat up people. If he doesn't let them get robbed, then he doesn't have a reason to beat up the bad guys.
We go to the news. The news is used a lot in this movie. We get so much exposition from these dead-ass looking news people that look like they're half asleep. So much of this movie is given in exposition I
feel bad for the guy with the tape recorder whose name I can't remember now. Let's see. Knox. Alexander Knox.
Oh, not him. I'm saying, like, when the actual news updates come on the TV.
Oh, no, I know I agree with that, but I do feel bad for Alexander Knox who gets fucked over, and not even in the good way.
Yeah, he's
not fun way.
Let's be real though. Like Knox, and I was going to get to Knox in a bit. Knox is the only comic relief in this movie.
Yes.
Like, everything else is either psycho or super serious.
Yes.
Like, Knox is the unsung hero of this movie. But on the news, we see Commissioner Gordon introducing District Attorney Harvey Dent, which you have to do in the movie because Billy D. Williams is black, and I don't think anybody that's read any comics has ever seen a black Harvey Dent, so we had to establish that right away. Not saying it's a bad thing, just as a storytelling device. Hey, this is Harvey Dent. Then we come back to Jack Napier, a.k.a. Jack Nicholson's character, before he turns into the Joker, watching TV with his boss's wife, and basically they're talking about, oh, if Grissom ever finds out about us, he's going to hand you your face, or whatever the case may be, and he's all full of himself, so he says, I can handle Grissom, he can't run the city without me.
Dun, dun, dun.
It sets a little bit of a thing, but it does show that, like, I don't know how to say what I'm saying here, and maybe you'll pick up what I'm saying, maybe I won't. Every character in this movie looks older and more grizzled than any other versions we've seen afterwards. Heath Ledger
Every character is the I'm too old for this shit
Yes.
guy.
I mean, Jack Nicholson is obviously older than Heath Ledger. Michael Keaton is older than Christian Bale. But, like, every character in this movie is, like, the older version. So he looks like this, you don't want to be the boss, because then you're the figurehead, and then you're the one that everybody targets. But if you're the guy just under the boss, then you've got all the real power. And like he wears all of that attitude like in his face. It's like, yeah, well, the boss ain't gonna do shit. The cops are talking about all the I fucking lost my place. Talk for a second. Talk for a second. I lost my place in my notes.
They're trying to they're talking about all the chemicals and stuff, and how if it gets to the police, these papers get to the police, then they're screwed. So Jack Nicholson's character's like, oh, we'll go in and we'll break into the place and say it was corporate espionage.
Oh wow, you're way ahead. You
That's
are right.
What's in this room.
Okay.
That's what's going on in here.
We go back to the place where Batman's beating up all the villains the night before. Cops are talking to them. They're telling them what happened, but
you're to the part where they're like, Batman's not real.
Yeah, the cops are talking to the criminals, but the criminals are doing the over-the-top, please think I'm crazy thing. I'm telling you, man, a giant bat! And then they're all...
Yes.
Knox shows up in the alleyway, starts bugging all the cops and all that sort of thing. Eckhart is one of the cops. Obviously, he sneaks off into another alley because he's a bad cop. He's talking to Napier, tells Eckhart to start thinking about the future, start thinking about who he's loyal to, and whatever. And then randomly we swing to the mayor, and there's another string going through this whole movie of, we're going to get this 200-year anniversary of Gotham going. I don't care how much crime is going on. I don't care how unsafe it is. We've got a party to have. Which is not that dissimilar from a lot of what's going on today. Let's just saying, yeah. COVID, parties, moving on. Numbers are back up in my area because people are dumb. Moving on. We go back to the news area, the news conference room type thing. Obviously, Knox is one of the guys that's trying to get a handle on whether this Bat guy really exists or not. He's getting ribbed by everybody else. They show a little thing on the wall of, like, who's the potential suspects of Batman, and it's, like, Dracula and the Wolfman, and, you know, they're just taking the piss, really.
Yeah.
And
this
is where he meets Vicki Vale, and she is and I have to say this nicely so people don't, she is sort of playing I'm the only woman in the room, I have to show how good I am at my job, and I'm not just here to take pictures of whatever, here's all my war stuff and whatever, and she tries to convince Knox that she's here to follow up on the Batman story, and he thinks that she's making fun of him, and she thinks that he doesn't take him seriously, so it's very, like, work flirty, but at the same time, they're both taking the piss out of each other.
Yes.
But eventually they get on to the fact that they both have a ticket to the Wayne benefit, because everything happens at Wayne Manor.
Everything.
Because reasons. In a different Batman, they even...
and also, apparently nobody knows what Bruce Wayne looks like.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. It's
There's gonna be a benefit as house, but nobody knows. None of the news people know what he looks like.
Yeah, I think what they're going for is, like, they're so into their jobs and so dedicated to their craft that they're not, like, distracted by, like, celebrity, which is basically what Bruce is. Like, he's not a government person. He's not a whatever you want to call, like, an actual thing. Like, he's just a rich guy that helps the community. He's a celebrity. But it just comes off as them being really dense and not aware of things.
Yes.
But conveniently enough, Vicki has a ticket to the Wayne benefit, even though she apparently just showed up on the scene yesterday.
Two tickets.
Well, every ticket to a benefit is going to be a +1 because you want to get 2 people to your benefit. Then they go to what you were talking about a second ago, talking about cleaning out access chemicals. Napier suggests sabotage, and Grissom does the whole, like, you're my number one guy. And he says it really creepily, and then he hands him his lucky deck and into the hat.
And then he essentially
calls the cops.
Puts in a tip, an anonymous tip that it's going to happen.
Yeah, so you didn't think that your boss knew you were banging his wife. He definitely knew you were banging his wife, and he's setting you up to die. It's fine, but there's a lot of really. The whole movie we've talked about is really hammy. It's really sort of overacted and cheesy, but the whole "you are my number one guy." There's a lot of repetition of particular dialogue, and we're going to hit on that in some other areas as well. But just the punctuation of like flipping the lucky deck into his hat because what he's going to become later.
Well, and it shows him with a Joker card at some point.
Yeah, because he's like looking away and he flips the Joker card around and it sort of changes perspective and he finally looks up at him or something like that. Anyways, so we go to the Wayne fundraiser and Wayne has all of Gotham in his house.
Like gambling in his house.
I mean, it's fine.
Benefit gambling.
Yeah, like I've done like, you know, stag and dough parties that are basically casino nights. But if you're Bruce Wayne, you can put one on of this scale. I don't mind the gambling. I just think it's hysterical that this guy has basically anybody who's anybody in his house.
But nobody knows what he looks like. The press doesn't know what he looks like.
And you know what kills me? And this is the thing. And you're hitting on how dumb it is. What kills me more than nobody knowing what Bruce Wayne looks like is Vicki asking Bruce which one Bruce Wayne is, and he says he doesn't know. Like, I don't know why she doesn't know what he looks like, but I also don't know why he doesn't say, it's me.
Because, you know, why does this woman want him?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Kim Basinger. I wouldn't say no. I mean, back then, maybe not so much now, but a little dusty. We got Knox bothering the commissioner because that's what he does. He bothers the district attorney. They're all at the thing table and they're all shrugging him off. They're all shrugging him off like he's this fly that's like not even there.
That's a mosquito that's bothering them.
Yeah, we see the commissioner get the anonymous tip that you just talked about. We got Bruce Wayne watching them on the camera.
I would like to add that so after Knox and Vicki Val, after Knox and Val like have their little talk with Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
In that one room, and they find out that he is Bruce Wayne. Am I jumping ahead?
Well, you are, but it's kitty corner to where we are right now. They stumble into the war room where all the armors are. First of all,
in the war room where he has a bunch of stuff.
Where he has a bunch of stuff and things, but like they're looking for where Bruce Wayne has gone and who Bruce Wayne is. So they stumble into the dark room where nobody is.
Exactly, and then Bruce Wayne finds them.
Yeah, the whole like, oh my God, where do you get this from? It's Japanese. How do you know that? Because I bought it in Japan. Like, it is funny, but it's also really flat. And it's like, oh, you're Bruce Wayne? Are you sure this time? And it's a whole lot of.
So he has like a weird conversation with them, and then Alfred is like, "Hey, the commissioner is left very quickly."
Yeah, and then he
goes being like, "Hey, you need to go do some Batman shit."
Yeah, not even subtle at all. Like, because I think the way it goes is Commissioner Gordon was compelled to leave, sir. Very unexpectedly, sir.
You need to go this way.
I can't do a good Alfred, but it's fine. He goes down to the Batcave, where the Batcave clearly has cameras all over Wayne Manor.
Here's the part that I was gonna say. So when he leaves and Knox looks over and he goes, Bruce Vane, more like it, because there's a big mirror there. It goes behind the mirror and you see 3 cameras pointing in the exact same direction. I'm like, why are they all pointing that way? Shouldn't they be strategically in different directions so you have a wide angle? But nope, 3 cameras in the exact same direction.
I'll do you one better.
False mirror.
I'll do you one better. How does a security camera from 1989 scope across the entire room and pick up the whispered conversation that the police chief was having with
He has
with
microphones everywhere. He's running his own house.
Yeah. Just be careful where you put those cameras and make sure you dump the memory cards and all that shit. Do you know how much... Okay, back in 89, we're still talking about tapes back in 89, right? How much tape is just kicking around his house?
A lot.
A lot of tape. Okay, so let's set the scene. Big action thing.
Hang on. There was something earlier that I thought was funny about Alfred. When she asks him if she knows who Bruce Wayne is, and he's like, he doesn't know. And he goes to like follow her around. He's like handed a pen at some point and like doesn't know what to do with it, so he just like sticks it in a plant. But then Alfred comes behind him and picks it up. And he goes to, like, set his glass down, and, like, he doesn't set it down correctly. It almost falls, and Alfred grabs it. Poor Alfred. He's like, bitch, I'm trying to keep this house clean. Don't walk around after you like you're a goddamn child.
I don't think the glass thing is as funny as, like, I mean, let's be real, it's his own house. He can do whatever he wants. He can set the roof on fire if he really wants to, but he doesn't have any place to put the pen. So, like you say, he just sticks it in a plant. He's like, oh, I'll come back and get it later.
Yeah, just put that there.
I do think that Bruce Wayne that Michael Keaton does the perfect mix of playing Bruce Wayne and playing Batman. Because you have to play, if you're in a movie like this, you have to play two roles. And as much as I make fun
I like the awkwardness he added to it.
Yeah.
Which you'll get more later.
Oh, a lot more later. But, like, when you get to, like, the Val Kilmer, the George Clooney of it all, like, they both play good, rich assholes. But they're not Batman.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm sure there's somebody. Christian Bale, he plays a better Batman than he does a Bruce Wayne, in my opinion. And I don't know where I sit on Ben Affleck yet. And, Sparkly Boys movie hasn't come out yet. So, although, to be fair, it does look really good from what I've seen so far.
We'll have to see. Continue on.
It took this long for a vampire to turn into a bat.
Yep.
So we set the scene at Access Chemicals, and Jack's men are, like, basically cleaning it all out. The sort of the corrupt cops are there under the control of Eckhart, and the good cops come in with the mayor who's still in his tuxedo from the party. Jack overrides all the machinery. The good cops and the bad cops and the gangsters have sort of like this weird three-way shootout thing. Batman does the very stereotypical, like, entrance from the ceiling, breaking through all the glass, to which I'm going to say, I don't remember who said it, I think it was CinemaSins, who makes the most money in any Batman movie? It's whoever's building doors and windows for buildings. Because there's a whole lot of situations where
they bust a door down or break through the glass window, glass
everywhere
stairs.
Everywhere in Gotham has a skylight. You have to accept it. Everywhere in Gotham has a skylight. And there's a whole lot of situations where it might not have been as cinematically pleasing, but you could have come through the front door. Like, there's enough people in there. The door was probably open at this point. Like, it is what it is.
Too many people there.
Anyways.
This is the scene when Batman shows up. This is the scene where you really see the I can't move my head, my neck in this costume.
He does bob around a lot, like, by the shoulders.
Like, especially when he starts to get surrounded by the police. This is a little later after Jack Nicholson, like, gets dumped in acid.
Yeah.
And the police show up. And, like, the police are coming from all around. And then he drops that smoke bomb that just does a little smoke, like, right where he is.
And you can still fully see him.
See him.
I mean,
going up.
Okay, to be fair, I'm going to say this a bunch. There is the 1989 of it all.
Yes.
But it's like...
You can still see everything about it, but yet the police run up like, there's smoke here. I can't see.
Anyways, in the process of just, like, setting off every single machine he possibly can and overriding every machine he possibly can, Jack floods the facility with all kinds of chemicals. What kinds of chemicals? Movie chemicals. It's fine.
Just all of them.
They all flood into one vat, conveniently enough.
He uses all the chemicals.
Yeah. Batman and Jack face off. They have this sort of, like, one of the thugs has Gordon, which is a little bit of a distraction for a little bit. Batman backs off for like a second, and you see this sort of look on Nicholson's face where it's Joker, and he's looking at an enemy, but he's also like, he's doing that weird evil thing of like, okay, you might be as fucked up as I am. Like, he's kind of intrigued by him. Like, so he just walks by and he tells him, nice outfit. Jack takes his time, distracts himself away, and blows away Eckhart, because Eckhart was loyal to the boss above him. That's, not gonna be a thing in a minute. Tells him to think about the future, going back to what he said a second ago, and shoots the fuck out of him. Batman knocks Jack out. They're trying to have a fight. He does try to save him, but ultimately he lands in the chemical pool, and Batman fucks off into the not very much smoke that you just mentioned.
Not very much smoke. that you can clearly see him grappling Hook out, but yet the police again run up and like, oh, where'd he go?
And you know what it is? Honestly, going back to what I just said a second ago, in absolutely backwards comic book logic, he had to break through the roof because that's how he was going to leave. Because
exactly.
he shoots
can't
back
break
up
through the roof going up. That would hurt.
I mean, yeah.
If he breaks the glass with his head, that'll hurt. If he breaks the glass with his feet, he's fine because he can fall from heights.
And the thing is, if he does it with his head, he can't even turn his face away.
That's true. He can't even shield his face because he'd have to turn his neck.
And the one thing you do have to say about this is there is a little bit every now and then of this movie that does come off as a little bit of a creature feature. Like there's slight horror tints to it, and obviously we pan out to a shot outside the Access Chemicals plant where all the chemicals are dumping into Gotham Bay, which I'm sure is going to work out well for everybody.
Exactly.
And they don't even touch on that.
I like how this chemical plant is set to be like, just dump it in the bay. Like, there's a chute for that. Nobody had to, like, take it out to the bay. It's just like, it just drains out into the bay.
I mean, you could make the excuse that, like, there was so much destruction that happened this was just, like, the whole building overflowing. But they don't really make that distinction, so I'm not going to either.
I'm not even sure if I remember when you go to the building that it was close to the bay.
It might just be a pool of chemicals that have leaked outside. But it does get a really panoramic view that seems like it's dumping into some sort of larger body of water. Bottom line is, it does do the very dramatic and very cool, like, all the cards come floating up to the top first, and then you see the one sort of, like, mangled, multicolored sort of hand just reaching out. It is very reminiscent of, like, any creature feature where the monster's coming to life for the first time, or a zombie feature where the one hand sticks up out of the ground. Really cool. Not anything that's going to make or break the movie, but a nice little touch, I thought.
Okay.
It is very weird that I've seen this movie so much, and now I have to look at it in terms of, like, what am I actually going to talk about? So it's like,
yep.
Maybe that's why they did that type of thing. Vale and Knox work together some more on the Batman story. There's more awkward work, flirting, and Knox trying, and Vale shooting him down, because that's what you do when you want to laugh in a movie. You see a guy get shot down who's trying real hard. And then she lets him know that she's got a date with Bruce, and it's like, there, now you've been fully put in your place. It's fine. Now, I know you want to talk about this, so I'm just going to let you talk about it. The really super, mega, way too unnecessarily awkward date between Bruce Wayne and Vicki Vale. Go.
With the long ass table where they're like on opposite ends of this like huge like banquet style table. And he's like, "How's the soup?" And she's like, "What? I can't even hear you from this far away." They're like 6 feet away. It's pretty far, but still. They're like, COVID social distancing for no reason.
And then she goes double down on it when she's talking to him real slow. She's like, "Can you pass the salt?"
The salt?
And then he like walks the salt down.
He goes back to his place, and then he goes, "Do you want to leave?" And then they go to the after that awkward moment, they go to, I assume, the kitchen, and the kitchen does not look like it's part of this house. Like, it looks like they went to a different fucking house.
Well, you know what it looks like? With the size of their house, it looks like a restaurant kitchen. And first of all, I've worked in restaurant kitchens, and they do look way different from the rest of the building. But it almost looks like, okay, here's the date, here's the proper formal persona that I'm putting out. Now come behind the scenes and hang out with the real me.
And hang out with my surrogate dad.
I mean, Alfred's there just
so he can embarrass me. Embarrassing stories to make me human.
I mean, you know what, though? Like, that is kind of endearing, I'm not going to lie.
Yes.
Like, because he doesn't have a dad figure there, because his parents are obviously dead, which we're going to talk about later. But, like, there's the formality, there's her meeting him for the first time for a first date, and him not knowing what to do with a date. Let's be real.
Yes, he's super awkward.
But you know what? It's cool. Like, as a genuine human thing, to see them both like drop the facades and go from like these people that are on a date to these people that are just hanging out having a laugh is good. And you need that dramatic change of scenery to get that across. And that part of that works really well. And Alfred coming in and, just embarrassing him because that's what dad figures do is endearing in a way. And they sort of briefly talk about family and all that sort of thing and what Alfred means to him, and and
then he skirts the fact that his parents were killed.
Well, you
I
don't
need people to know that about me. He was only in the paper.
I mean,
but you don't even know what I look like. So why would you know about that? To
be fair, would you talk about the back alley slaughtering of your parents on a first date?
No, but I'm just saying.
So they chill, they talk about family, the childhood stories, the moves to the kitchen, and it's all good, and everybody, both literally and figuratively, gets to, let their hair down a little bit, which is all good. Then you have what I think, and I thought it back then, and I still think it now, what is one of the most iconic scenes in movies, and there's a couple in this movie. It's just the minute where you see the back alley surgery, where somebody's tried to fix up Joker, and you never see his face, and you never see him turn around. All you see is this really, really nervous surgeon that doesn't have the tools that he needs, and doesn't have the amenities that he needs, doesn't have the facility that he needs, and he's explaining away the work that he's done to fix this guy's face before he can even unwrap his face.
I did the best I can.
Do you see what I'm working with here? The nerves were completely severed, Mr. Napier. Anyways, I don't know what I'm doing. It's fine.
He decided to go with that accent, but okay.
I did.
I don't even think that guy had that accent, but all right.
He has an accent. I don't know whether I did it properly, because I'm usually really awesome at accents, if you didn't know. But he just, the iconic, shot from the back of him unwrapping his face and just demanding the mirror is really, really cool. And just you hear, as soon as he sees himself, you hear the laugh. And he's not really moving, but he smashes the mirror, and he grabs the guy, but he doesn't actually do anything to him, and he just sort of, seeing his own face, breaks him. And he just, shambles up the stairs.
He just, does the Joker laugh.
Does the Joker laugh, and it's just, he's already fucked. He's already, practically died and come back to life, but just, unwrapping his face, seeing his face, just the fact that you never see him, the fact that it's just a laughing silhouette and just the smash of the mirror, I've loved.
And the light.
And the light eventually too, because it's the light that's swinging over his head, right? But no, just the initial looking in the mirror and then smashing the mirror. Look at that's the reaction to him seeing his own face. It's he would smash his own face. I don't know. It's been mimicked in so many cartoons and so many parodies and whatever. Just that whole just that, like I say, the faceless silhouette demanding the mirror. It's awesome to me, and probably because I grew up on it, and probably because I was watching it when I was 5. But it's fine. We go to Grissom's office where he's cleaned himself up, where Grissom doesn't really know what's going on. He thinks his setup has actually worked, and I think he's looking away from the door, and he thinks his girlfriend's come in, and he's like, "Oh, just put your bags in the back, sweetie." And he's like, the room is set up for a reveal. This is a room that was built for a movie.
For a reveal, yeah.
Yeah, it was built for a reveal. Convenient shadow is convenient. But it's Joker talking to him, and it's just he's almost shaking his head at him. It's you set me up over a woman. He's he's talking
and
down.
Screams it later. A woman.
And I mean, comes into the light, reveals his face. He's not deformed like the Heath Ledger Joker is. He's just got his face that, because all the nerves are fucked, pulled it into this. For anybody that hasn't seen the movie but is somehow listening to us, it's basically forced his face into this permanent, nerve frozen smile. Yeah.
It's but if you take the back. It's like if you take your skin on your face and stretch it back.
Yeah.
So that's really tight.
It also makes it look like he has a really huge top lip.
Yes.
But he's got the famous white face and green hair and all that kind of shit right away.
I like how the chemicals turn his face white, but his lips red.
I like the fact that you don't see it later on, but because his face is so white and shit, he has to paint on normal color.
Yes,
and then you see him.
I like that part.
I do too. It was something I didn't realize until much later in life when I was paying more attention to details and all that sort of thing. Where you see him, and it looks like at first you think he's wiping on white paint, but no, he's wiping off the skin-colored paint.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of the whole what people say about Superman. It's well, no, Clark Kent is his secret identity, and Superman is who he really is. Well, no, a normal-looking guy is his mask. and the monster underneath is who he really is. I think it's a really... They don't really do anything with that metaphor, but it's just kind of there, and it works. We flash back to Wayne Manor. Vicki has spent the night, and Bruce, because he's dumb, is hanging from a cage upside down like a bat right next to the bed.
I don't remember that scene.
He's got like a workout thing, like it's like people do like with anti-gravity boot workouts, and he's just hanging.
No, I understand what you're talking about. I do not remember that scene. I must have looked down for like 2 seconds.
It's just it literally is just a flash, but it's her asleep in his bed, and it just sort of pans to the corner. And the only reason you even like pay attention at all is because the thing that he's hanging from squeaks just a little bit, because that's what you do. Like,
it's cheesy as fuck.
I mean, first of all, it's cheesy as fuck, but second of all, like, if you want to keep your identity and there's a civilian in your bed, do you do creepy bat shit? Like, maybe go
also, you couldn't have taken her to another room? There's like 50 rooms in this place.
Well, also, you could have gone to the bat cave to do bat shit. Like...
Or you could just not do bat shit when there's people that don't need to know you're Batman here.
Yeah, but you know what? He has to do it because he's batshit crazy.
Yes.
But
Boo.
we go back. This is where we get into this whole like flashing back and forth to what different people are doing, and it's just Joker reading the newspaper, and the newspaper is doing what every newspaper does in every Batman movie, and initially assuming the Batman is a bad guy, and he says, "Oh, they think he's terrifying. Wait till they get a load of me." And he's just sort of like monologuing to himself, but like Jack Nicholson getting his full Jack Nicholson on gets the creepy over it. It's really good. Grissom's girlfriend shows up. She faints because she didn't know that Jack was still alive either. Jack then holds a meeting with all the gang leaders, and it's pretty much, this is the prototype for what happens in The Dark Knight, which we're going to talk about in our next pod. But we know the famous scene in The Dark Knight where all the gangsters step up to him, and one guy gets the magic trick with the pencil, right? And okay, don't fuck with me type thing. This is sort of like the prototype for that scene, because one guy, you know, steps up to him and says, what if we don't want to follow you? You know, what happened to Grissom? What do you mean Grissom left you all his contacts and shit? And he says, well, if we can't do business, we just shake hands and that'll be that. And then has the Zapper button. Has the Zapper thing, and like it goes from a guy with really, really bad fire effects just under his collar.
Oh, it's like awful with like red lights and shit. To
like super obvious crispy prop skeleton in the chair.
Yes.
It's so good though. And then because somehow he knows who Vicki Vale is, and he grabs one of the guys, Bob, who's his number one guy, and he does the number one guy thing that Grissom did to him, except he's like breathing really heavy when he says it, and
he emphasizes it a lot.
In a modern context, it's really creepy. Because the other one, when Grissom says it to him, it's almost a really, really condescending, hey, I'm sending you on your way to the dogs type thing. He does the exact same thing, and it's unnerving, to say the least. I mean, again, I'm going to say it a bunch, but it's very Jack Nicholson. Like, very intense, like, intensity on 10, and sends him on his way, and he just says, yes, sir, and he puts his glasses on, even though he's still inside.
Yeah.
And then okay. Vicki Vale, here we go. We said it before, we're going to say it again. Vicki Vale goes full stalker on Bruce. It's weird. Follows him from home, follows him into the alley, takes pictures of him.
We forget about the part where she tries to set up, like, another date, and he's like, oh, I've got, like, a thing. Oh, I'm going to be out of town, blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah.
And then Alfred, breaks his cover, and he's not actually going anywhere, and she's like, you tried to stand me up. Basically.
No. I love when Alfred says to Bruce, and he's like, I feel like there's a weight that lifts when she's here, and I'm sorry. I'm going to steal another line from Cinema Sins here because it's very apt. They had one date.
Yes, one date.
They had one date, and she fucked him. That's a very small sample size. Full credit to the Cinema Sins guys, but it's absolutely true. And then Bruce is like, you know, if the mood lifts so much when you're here, like, why don't you date her? Like, what I do love about this is because it is a bit silly, and because he is a bit he is awkward, so he gets away with saying awkward things. But he does toss a bit of Alfred's shit back at him in this. Whereas everything else, every other Batman movie, he, like, looks up to Alfred like he's this untouchable authority, almost. Even though he works for him, but he's still the parental figure. Like,
he's still the adult in the room.
Yeah, but he does give it back to him a little bit. It's like, yeah, I know what you're trying to do. I see where you're trying to push me. Why don't you date her? Like, that's a little bit good, because
Stop trying to get me to marry the girl I went on one date with.
Yeah.
Alfred.
Yeah. It wasn't the mood.
I know I'm 34. I don't want to get married, Dad.
It wasn't the mood that lifted. We had sex.
I just finally got some.
We flash forward to another scene in front of a bank where one of the other mob bosses that was in the meeting with the Joker tries to say that Grissom left him all the criminal enterprise and all that sort of thing. And he says, you know what, Grissom signed it all over to me, da-da-da-da-da, just take my word for it. And Knox is there, being an absolute fucking dickhead. He's like, did you guys do some time in juvie together? It seems like you've known each other a long time. And it's just like, Joker shows up and he says, yeah, I saw it. I saw the whole thing. He signed it all off to him. He did it with this pen. And then he jabs the pen in the guy's neck. Right in front of everybody.
It's a big, feathery pen, too.
Well, for the dramatic purposes, right?
It's like a quill.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, sure, yeah, he definitely signed all this shit over to you. He did it with this pen, right? In the neck. And it's just, it's not as gory as the guy that gets electrocuted, but it's the dramatization of the first one he did in private, the second one he did in public in front of the news to make this big statement to everybody. This is sort of Joker's arrival. And It just so happens to be, for narrative purposes, that Knox is there, and Wayne is there, and Vale is there, and they're all there for the big dramatic reveal, for lack of a better term. And then, of course, he walks down the steps screaming, the pen is mightier than the sword.
You know, he goes full-on campy Joker, which is good. I liked.
But this is a welcome distraction from the fact that Vale is only there because she followed Bruce into the alley, taking pictures of him dropping flowers in the alley, and like the overall like grotesque.
The alley that a hotel is in.
Yeah, but it
even though they came out of a movie theater.
Yeah. Well, it could be the other end of the alley. You don't know.
Maybe.
But it's the way this is. It's subtle, but then again, it sort of defeats its own purpose at the same time, because obviously the bigger thing that happens in this scene is the reveal of the Joker. Here, I'm going to stab somebody in the throat live on the evening news. Here I am, Gotham. That's the big thing that comes out of this scene, but it kind of overlooks the fact that, as we've said,
stalking him?
She is stalking him. 100% she is stalking him. That's what's happening here, and you don't, you know.
And nobody thinks it's creepy at all because it's a girl. But dude was doing this, he'd be in jail already.
See, I love that you're making the point that I would usually make, because you can say that without getting in trouble. I would get called sexist.
It's true.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't matter if it's true. It matters that I'm a dude. Anyways, we flip through a couple more scenes really quickly. We see that Joker is really, really mad that the Batman gets all his press. It's the first of many TVs that he busts up with his, like, extendable punch thing. We go back to the newsroom where Vicki Vale is still stalking Bruce and wants to know about the alley and wants to know why he was in the alley and wants to know why he's dropping flowers in the alley, and it's very, very strange. Joker, in his hideout place thing, he's flipping through the crime scene photos that his Bob guy took. Vicki Vale catches his eye, and for some reason, all of a sudden, Joker's concerned with getting laid. And he thinks that she's great.
Hot. I want her.
Yep.
And my other girlfriend is fucked up, apparently.
Yeah,
and I never show the scene where she gets fucked up, but she does.
And he even makes fun of Knox, because he's flipping through the photos, and one of the photos is of Knox, because he was there too, and he's like, "Who's this loser?" Like, Knox is the punching bag the whole movie. It's fucking great. Joker breaks into Access Chemicals, which is now back up and running again, and he tells them, like, they've shipped their first 100 whatever. They don't even specify what. It's just like, how many have you shipped? 100. Ship it all.
All of them. Ship all of them.
We go back to the really, really dead-looking people on the news. and they're talking about 2 supermodels that have died of allergic reactions to stuff, and then they announce 3 more mysterious deaths at a beauty parlor in Gotham, I think. And one of the reporters has a laughing attack, and when they cut to her on the floor, it's a really awkward cut, and she's got the same smiley attack that the Joker has. It's fine. That's not strange at all. The news starts speculating on the deadly combinations of cosmetics that are going throughout the city. The mayor is still pushing to have the festival because reasons. Because the mayor has one goal. The mayor has one goal. We're going to have this party. It might be hosted by a bunch of corpses, but we're going to have this 200th anniversary of Gotham, even if Gotham is dead from using bad mascara. Very strange. I mean, like, it's his only speed. The whole moment. This festival is on! Anyways. Lost my place again, because I'm an idiot. Alfred then takes a message from Vicki saying that she's going to be late to meeting Bruce at the museum for their date that apparently Bruce doesn't know is happening. It's kind of weird. So you got to kind of assume that somebody working for the Joker sent a message to Vicki asking her out on a date, and then she talked to him to say that she's going to be late or something to that effect. So it leads to Vicki in the museum, who's waiting forever and waiting forever and waiting forever and getting pissed off that she got stood up. And then she gets a mask in a gift box. Now, I'm going to throw this to you, Kristen.
Okay.
If you're there for a date...
That you're getting stood up on, you think?
Never mind the fact that your date hasn't shown up, to the point where the waiters are kind of feeling sorry for you. And on top of that, somebody sends you a random gift present box thing with a gas mask in it. You'd leave at that point.
Yeah, probably. I probably would have left way before she even thought about leaving.
Okay, but that's just because, my date's apparently been a dick. You get a gas mask delivered to your restaurant table. Do you stay at that point? Like,
well, I mean, it happened pretty quickly after she got the mask, so I'm gonna give him that. But
I'm just saying, like, the fact that she didn't have like one hand on the table, pushing herself away from the table, even is a bit much. But I will say, what we get is a big, long, basically. Like a Prince music video without Prince in it. Yeah. Because it's Joker and all his guys, and they're destroying all the paint and all the paintings, all the pieces of art. They're smashing stuff. They're painting over stuff. Obviously, just to drill the idea home that Joker's all fucked up. He finds one really fucked up painting that he likes and tells his boys, "Nobody can touch this one. I like it." Just in case the audience at home hasn't gotten the message yet.
Joker's crazy.
Joker's crazy. Here's your proof. Here's the painting that he likes. If you go to another exhibit about like severed heads and shit like that, he'll probably like light some candles and chill a while. It's fine. Eventually, but some of his gangsters don't have knives or spray paint cans or flames or anything. They're carrying extra food and candles and shit like that because he's the one.
They're dancing the whole time, too.
They're dancing the whole time. He's dancing in front of the statues, like taking the pose of the statues and all that shit. But eventually...
And knocking the statues over.
Yeah. And I'm going to say it once again, the Jack Nicholson of it all is so fucking great. And if anybody else had this role other than Jack Nicholson, this would have fallen off a cliff. But Jack Nicholson is legitimately crazy, I think. So it does work. It is one of those, the role was made for the guy or vice versa type of ideas. He eventually does come to Vicki, because obviously he's the one that set up the date for Bruce that never showed up, and tells her, I'm walking around pretty safe. I think you can take the mask off now. He flips through her folders until obviously he settles on all her stuff from like war-torn areas, and that gets them all going and whatever. Batman makes the save. It's fine. There's a car chase. Car chase ends up with a pile of cars. They're both in the alley. The part that still makes me laugh to this day, because I'm a shitty person, when he gets his grappling hook out and he asks her how much he weighs, and she says 100. She says 108. And then
109. Yeah, at that exact point, when he shoots up, I wanted it to break. And I wanted it to break and then it'd be like, you lied about your weight.
Well, he does, though, because it goes up, but it stops about halfway, and he's like, see that thing on my belt? Grab it, and just don't let go. And, like, he gives the instructions in, like, 5 seconds. Like, way too quickly for any casual human being to even recognize what he's saying. But, like, the thing comes off his belt, and she has to hold it, and he falls, and she just better hold on. And then when he kicks some more ass and whatever, she's totally collected.
And there's action and whatever.
Well, there's a lot of that. Like, there's generic Batman kicking disposable gangsters' ass. Like, how much do we really need to deep dive on that? But never mind that. She's totally ziplined herself to the top of the building. She's totally collected. There's nothing wrong. And she's totally cool to just whip out her camera and start taking pictures again, like she wasn't just dangling off a building.
Well, let's forget the fact that the camera was in her bag that she totally didn't bring with her when they were running out. Like, she got out of the Batmobile. She took her shoes off. You see her clearly take her shoes off after she gets out of the Batmobile. Has no bag with her. And then
when he meets up with her again before they go back to the car, he literally says, "You weigh a little bit more than 108." And I'm just
I did not hear that part. I would have fucking loved that.
Because she looks at him, like, as they're getting into... Because it's a little bit bantery, and this is why I say this is a lot lighter than a lot of other Batman movies, and it kind of works. And it's just like, you weigh a little bit more than 108. She's like, oh, really? And then they get into the car and go. Takes her with him to the Batcave underneath Wayne Manor. She's freaked out by the bats. What I love is, like, she starts walking around before the lights are on, and as soon as he throws the lights on, obviously she's like 1 inch away from, like, the edge of a cliff. Because they have to stick something like that in there. He explains to her about all the cosmetic shit, and then, yeah, that's basically it. He knocks her out again. Somehow it gets her back to the apartment, and took the film. And she publishes the thing, and there's more updates and whatever. Now, let me ask you something here. Again, she lives in an apartment. He knocks her out again, and she wakes up in bed. Which means either Batman or Bruce Wayne carried an unconscious woman out of a car into an apartment and nobody saw.
Of course not, because he's Batman.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of everything we love has a lot of, okay, that just happened in it. But, like, she wakes up. Her first freak out isn't that, like, how did I get home? Her first freak out is to, like, literally grab her tit and be like, oh shit, the film's gone.
That's true.
Like,
He does do that.
There's a whole lot of other things that should be more concerning. Like, I was just in a cave with a crazy man dressed as a bat, and I almost fell off a cliff, and we're talking about a guy that's trying to poison the city, and oh, somehow I unconsciously wound up at home again. Do I have little bat children in my belly? Like, oh, no, there's a piece of film that's missing from my bra. Just priorities. Priorities are a thing.
She just got to prove that he was Batman.
So now that Batman has spent the night with Vicki Vale, Bruce visits Vicki, and she's all pissed off that she was stood up on her date. After everything that happened the night before.
She's all pissed that she was stood up on her date that clearly wasn't him, that...
Yeah, that the Joker clearly set up. And the Joker, like, it's not explicitly said, but, like, it's pretty obvious. Like, if you're not a complete moron, that, like, you were set up because this crazy person wanted information. Or at least, like, you're a media person, so even if they weren't going to get information from you, they wanted to make an impression on you that you would further throughout the media, etc. He does what Batman does in every movie and sort of struggles and says, but not says, that he's Batman, and it's awkward, because Michael Keaton's good at awkward. And then Joker invades their little hangout thing, talks about how his... Oh, we should say that Joker, while he was improving all the paintings and whatnot, did bring out his girlfriend, who's got a porcelain mask on, and takes it off and just, look at my girl, she's a work of art. And she takes the mask off, And from the time that I was watching this as a young person till now, I don't know what the shock is, because basically it just looks like he's painted her face up. If she's supposed to...
Her face is burned.
Is it?
It's burned.
Because it just, like, to me, it's always looked like it's just been, like, painted over and it's just done really badly. Like, okay, like, she's been painted up badly, and because I'm a psycho, bad is good, and creepy is cool, and, like, if it's supposed to represent, like, she was dipped into the friggin' shit like he was, like, okay, these could be the origin stories of Harley Quinn type thing, like, that doesn't come across at all. My reaction when I was a kid was like, okay, she's, like, painted up a bit ugly, like, what the fuck? And that's still my reaction now. If it's supposed to be
her face is a little like she's got, like, chemical burns on, like, one side of her face, sort of.
Okay, I can go with that. Still hot. Anyways, moving on. So, they're having this meaningful little, like, Batman conversation that never happens in any movie. He struggles to tell her who he is. And Joker invades, and he talks about, you know, how his girlfriend is now dead, and now she's a widow, and he has the mask, and now the mask has got some chips in it, and he punches it and cracks it. And Bruce Wayne does this really cool thing here, and this right here, if you remember when we did Spider-Man Homecoming, and we talked about Michael Keaton's portrayal of the Vulture. And I said he's like that his portrayal of the Vulture reminds me of one specific scene in Batman. And his portrayal of the Vulture reminds me of what he's doing right here in this scene here. Because Bruce wants to stick up for his girlfriend, but he can't just be like valiant hero type.
He can't be Batman.
He can't be Batman, but he still wants to stick up for his girlfriend. So he plays himself off like regular, everyday, ordinary guy that's trying to scare the bad guy away, to which he just becomes crazy. And he tells the story about this guy named Jack that I knew one time, and Jack just, eventually he went nuts. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts! And then he immediately fails.
Gets shot.
Joker points the gun at him, and he utters the line, and this is one of my favorite lines in cinema, because I'm a dork like that. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? Which doesn't mean anything at this point in time. And then he shoots Bruce. He leaves a gift on the table for Vicki, and he leaves, and he's sort of dancing down the hallway, really awkwardly, kind of looks like he's fucking the air. It's fine. She opens the Jack-in-the-Box, because why would you open the Jack-in-the-Box? Because this is a guy that's poisoning people. There could be more gas in there. There could be an explosive in there. There could be poison in there. But she undoes the box, and it is...
after her boyfriend...
just got shot.
Boyfriend, just got shot, and then his body disappeared.
Yeah.
Because she goes to look back to tend to him, and he's just, like, gone.
He's gone. She opens up the thing, and it's a Jack-in-the-Box mannequin hand with dead flowers in it. Creepy as hell, but why would you open
faints.
it? Yeah,
like
but
comic level faints.
Like cheesy comic level faints. But before she faints, she does look down. She does see that he used a serving tray, which is like a foot by a foot and a half, that he must have stuck up his shirt. And it's like Joker must have known where the plate was and, like, specifically shot at the plate, because 99% of you is still exposed with that little tiny fucking plate. But yeah, she faints from the flowers. The flowers are a cool thing, but it does come back to the logic of why the hell would you open the box? Like, the last time she saw this guy...
It's a Batman movie.
Because it's a Batman movie, but, like, the guy just gassed a whole building.
And tried to gas you. Well, no, gave you a gas mask.
Yeah, it's you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go, right? Vicki goes back to the newsroom, gets back with Knox, and continues stalking Bruce. Knox fills her in on the whole. That's the alley where Bruce Wayne's parents died. Da 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 da. It's still very creepy. It's sort of... I guess you could say that she's starting to get an idea that he is who he is, but it's never fully implied. So I'm going to go with she's still stalking her own boyfriend on this.
Yeah, pretty much.
the mayor is addressing
Stalking her not boyfriend yet.
Yeah, the guy that,
By the way, when I know we're going back a step and it's a side comment, but just on my part,
Sure.
brings her the crappiest carnations I've ever seen when he goes to apologize to her.
Well,
he shows up at her door with flowers.
Well, he doesn't know how to date. Like, that's been made.
I know, but I'd be like, I mean, he doesn't know that she's been stalking him, but bitch, you put flowers on a random ass corner somewhere. You couldn't you put roses on a random ass corner somewhere. You couldn't get me roses? Bring me these cheap ass, like, oh fuck, I should bring flowers, stop at this convenience store.
Never mind that. I don't know why he doesn't start the conversation with, by the way, I never set up a date between us.
Yeah, by the way.
For the museum. But yeah,
you fucking weirdo.
Knox fills in. It's weird because Vicky's totally being a stalker on Bruce. Knox, who wants Vicki, wants her so bad that he's willing to help her with the stalking of the guy, even though he wants to be the guy. So there's layers of, like, codependency and weird stalking here that are not something that this
the whole time, anytime she brings up Bruce, he's like, I just don't like that guy. I think there's something off about that guy.
Because I'd like to shag you.
Yeah.
That's like
she
that's
even brings up later, is it because of personal issues or some shit?
Yeah. Anyway, so the mayor is addressing the people on the news in a news conference type thing. He's finally canceling the 200-year anniversary of Gotham because, there's some shit going on. Obviously, his address gets interrupted or bisected or however you want to say it. And the Joker is now addressing everybody. He's the leader of all the gangs now. He's an artist. He's making Gotham into his own art project. He's going to have his own festival. He's going to drop $20 million from the sky, and he's going to fight the Batman, because Batman is the real terror in Gotham, which is awesome, and this is something I wish more people would do.
I like how easily in this movie the Joker can just be like, yeah, I'm taking over all the TV stations now. Never explain how he does that. And at one point, it's like dual screen, and the mayor, like, is there, and we're like, we don't condone, and he, like, literally, like, in the screen, pushes the mayor out of the screen.
No, but it's funny, though, because the way they do that in the 4-screen setup, it doesn't make any sense if you think about it for even a second. It breaks. But, like, when half the screens are showing Joker and half the screens are still showing the mayor's looking left. Like he's looking from one screen to the other.
At the Joker.
No, but it's like he's looking from. He knows he's on a TV screen, and he knows the Joker's TV screen is next to it, so he's looking at him through the screen. And then he just does this. He basically does star wipe and gets rid of the mayor. Yeah. And but he's gonna fight Batman, and he's the real terror in Gotham. Now, this is something I wish. I'm not gonna lie. It's a goofy little like point here, but every single Batman movie, or at least every single like first Batman movie in a series, always has that sort of moral dilemma of, who's this Batman guy? He could be a really bad guy. He could be somebody we need to worry about. Should we have a vigilante in Gotham? Da 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 da. And it happens between like the public. It makes a whole lot more sense for the bad guy, the guy that wants to get his like skeevy shit done, to go out there and plant that idea in everybody's head, rather than have them just have it out of nowhere. So it's not the point at all, but it's really cool to have this guy, who's actually doing some terrifying shit, plant the idea that the real terror in Gotham is the Batman. Because he's not out there addressing them and making himself known and all that sort of thing dramatically like the Joker is. Anyways, we see Bruce in the Batcave, and he gets a bunch of files from Alfred about his parents' death, and then we get the flashback, and then we get some dude that does not look like Jack Nicholson at all killing Bruce's parents and saying the immortal line of, have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight? He has his big light bulb moment. Oh my god, this is the guy that killed my family. And then for some...
I don't think the movie needed that. I don't think we needed to have the Joker be the reason for only the thing where later on, quickly jumping ahead, the only reason that happened is so we can have that line where it's like, you created me first.
Yep. I mean, again, I'm gonna
I feel like Batman's motivation for stopping the Joker is, oh, he's poisoning a bunch of people. Not,
Yeah.
you killed my parents.
Yeah,
Why did you
it
say
is.
that name?
It is. Why did you say Martha? I mean, I do get it, because back then, as I said, we said it at the beginning of the pod, but, like, back then they would have been trying to super simplify the story and just make a nice streamline from the beginning to the end in case there wasn't another one. I mean, if you didn't want to have an opening and a closing to the movie, you wouldn't have killed Joker, which we're going to talk about in a second. I get it. I don't think it needed to be there, but I think if you look at Batman as the character that never kills, and you want to be sort of okay with him killing the Joker, the added, sort of emotional weight of, okay, you killed my parents, helps you get there.
You
know
killed
what I mean?
my parents, so it's okay that I killed you.
Well, no, it's not, but it helps the audience be more okay with still cheering Batman.
I still don't feel like it was necessary, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I just felt like it kind of came out of nowhere.
And then Alfred Ex Machina lets Vicki Vale into the Batcave. Because fuck secrecy.
Because reasons.
Because fuck secrecy. Batman leaves.
Because I want you to end up with this woman.
I want bat step grandchildren. Anyways, awkward. We have a little side note of Batman going to Access Chemicals and blowing the place up, which is one of those why couldn't you have done this a hell of a long time ago things. Joker watches from a chopper, and literally we drastically cut from that to the parade already in progress. We have Joker on the float. We have the 200 thing. So obviously he stole the float. He's tossing money from the float. And he's being basically a propaganda artist trying to get people against Batman. It's like, here I am. I'm giving away free money. And this is another great line. It's great because of its ridiculousness. And where is the Batman? He's at home, washing his tights. And he's just throwing out all this money. And I will say, and it's another thing that doesn't matter at all, but it's another thing that's been brought up in the past. You see the money in the fundraising basket at the beginning when they're doing the fundraiser at Wayne Manor, and then you see the money here again. Probably a good candidate for the most fake-looking money ever in film.
That's true.
It's like a muted black and white step below Monopoly money. And this is coming from me, who lives in Canada with our rainbow plastic money.
I was about to say your money looks so much like Monopoly money.
I'm going to say...
But at least it's not boring.
I don't need it from you right now, because quick shout out to Guapo and Ruffin in their show, but I get ripped enough for being Canadian on their show, so we're going to dial it back here, you hear me?
Dude, they shit on you for being Canadian in that show?
I'm sitting in the chat watching Guapo and Ruffin do their thing on the Wednesday night wrestling, whatever. I'm just in the chat, being the nice guy, helping them out with a little bit of information.
They shit on you for being Canadian. It's hilarious.
They shit on me because we have bagged milk and ketchup chips.
That is weird.
Fuck off.
I'm sorry, why bagged? How do you pour it? How does it sit in your refrigerator?
It sits in a jug.
You know what? Ours comes with the jug. So you don't have to have two things.
Really thought bringing this up was going to work in my favor. It really didn't.
No, it was not.
Is it because
I was on board until you brought up bagged milk. Ketchup flavored chips is fine.
Is it because you've known Ruffin and Guapo longer than you've known me? Is that what's going on here?
No, it's because bagged milk is ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous.
You just said you had to take bagged milk and put it in a jug. Ours already comes in a jug. You don't need two things for it to sit in the fridge. It sits in the fridge by itself.
Yeah, but also, I've been on your side of the invisible wall there, and your iced tea is just cold tea.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Your iced tea is shit. Go to McDonald's
Have you tried sweet tea?
No, we don't need to talk about what you guys do with iced tea. Let's get back to the movie.
I don't drink sweet tea, so I'm a terrible Southerner. I don't drink sweet tea.
I mean, the amount of people I know that are moving north because of current social climate down in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
I shouldn't even be making jokes right now, but it's fine. Getting back to the parade, getting back to the at home washing his tights, slowly and surely reveals to the crowd that are scrambling on the floor for the money that all of his parade balloons are full of gas that's going to kill them, which is lovely, I suppose. And then the Batwing shows up. Batwing shows up to solve this great, dramatic, terrible thing that's about to happen to the city, but takes a moment, for branding purposes, to fly up into the sky, past the clouds, and pose in front of the moon.
Clearly.
So that we can have a nice bat symbol in the sky. I do like the fact that the bat plane literally has a little scissor thing on the front specifically designed for collecting balloons.
Yes, clearly.
And then lets them all go. And
still less improbable than the whole love sequence of this whole movie.
True. But I love watching Joker freak out too, because he kind of sounds like me when I lose my place in a podcast. He's like, "He stole my balloons! Nobody told me he had one of those things!" And then he just takes a gun from one of his guys and shoots the guy because he's frustrated. And he takes Vicki, and they go all Quasimodo climbing the bell tower of
You
Gotham.
forgot
Oh.
one of the most ridiculous scenes where he has the extendo revolver.
Oh, yes, I did. You are right. Batman has every gun imaginable on his plane, can't shoot the Joker in plain sight. Joker pulls out a gun that is the length of his pants, and dick jokes abound, and with one shotgun blast, takes down the bat plane.
With one revolver shotgun blast.
Revolver, whatever. I'm not a gun person. It's fine. But, yeah, so there's that. Let alone the fact that, like, Batman...
And then later, when he is taking, what's her name, Vicki, up the stairs and everything, it's extendable. He pushes it back to where it's a short barrel again.
And the gun that, like, legitimately shot down the Batplane then has a bang flag in it.
Yes. Not only that, how does that gun not, if it can shoot through the glass of the Batplane from however many yards away, how does it not, like, eviscerate shit when it, like, blasts through the wall and stuff?
I have no idea. The whole chase up the bell tower is weird, because you've got a point where, and this is pure, like, Joker right out of Batman the Animated Series, but he's got the flower on his lapel, and it shoots acid, and the acid knocks the bell down the chute.
Oh yeah, he melts the supports for the bell, and it falls all the way down.
But it's funny, though, because you see it, and you see the liquid land on the bolt. You don't see anything melt. You just see a change of shot, and the bell falls. It's like the dude getting electrocuted with the really bad fire effects. Smash cut to the clearly, like, Roddy skeleton prop thing. But it's like, the bell takes out every bit of steps all the way down, but Batman still climbs the steps to get up there. And
it
then
didn't break the steps, it went through the middle.
Yeah, well.
It managed to fall completely straight down the middle without touching anything on the sides.
Yep. And then they fight, and villains monologue in a fight, because that's what they do. You know, how can you want to fight me? How can you want to stop me? You dumped me into that vat of chemicals, and you made
created me.
And da-da-da-da-da. And then, you know, Batman has the line that you talked about earlier. You made me, I made you, or I made you, you made me first. And then they fight, and then Batman and Vicki are hanging off of the facing of the bell tower. And it's the shittiest bell tower ever constructed, because you can just knock out bricks by kicking them.
Yes.
And then Batman does this, and I shouldn't even say this in a comic book movie, but it is. It's an impossible shot, because it's two grappling hooks going completely different directions. One gets Joker's foot.
Vaguely in the shot, it vaguely wraps around Joker's foot.
It wraps around Joker's foot as he's trying to get onto his helicopter that's trying to take him away. And the other one goes around a gargoyle, what do you call it? Gargoyle statue.
Yeah.
Both of, now, it doesn't tear off his leg, but being tied to his leg is enough to remove a cement fixture from an old-ass building.
And then when it does come from an old ass building and falls, to
it doesn't tear his leg off.
It doesn't tear, or even pull it out of place. Nothing.
No.
His hip doesn't come out of socket. Nothing.
No. But
he doesn't skip leg day.
Who doesn't skip leg day? Batman. Anyways, stupid quote from a movie that I haven't seen, so we're gonna overlook that and move on.
Yep. Just keep going.
Eventually, he falls, and Batman and Vicki just crawl up and sort of carry on with life. I will say, talk about like watching this when I was a kid. One of the creepiest shots is they have one shot that comes all the way down from the height where they are up in the top of the bell tower, and it just slowly comes down to the obvious dead like corpse of the Joker that's embedded in the pavement.
And it has something going, ha ha, ha ha.
No,
ha, ha.
No. It's the Bag-O laughs, and it's.
See, if it was really the Joker, that thing would have exploded after it got pulled out of his pocket.
Yeah, but there's something creepy about like the totally still Jack Nicholson face, and it's not moving, but hearing that laugh, because it's not the Joker laugh. It's like something. I don't know. I don't want to use the word devious because it sounds like I'm being dramatic just for dramatic's sake, but it does sound like, I'm gone, but a little bit of me is still here, type thing. And yeah, it's a stupid little like gift shop prop gag thing, but in the Joker context, it's creepy as fuck. It is. And then we get like I say again, sort of what happens in every original Batman movie. It's the commissioner talking to the public, and he's reading a letter from Batman. When villains come back to cast a shadow on the light of the city, call me. And of course, Knox is right in the front row. He says, excuse me, sir. But how do we call him? He gave us a signal! And it's the same bat.
And then the bat signal.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be cloudy. It's always cloudy enough in Gotham.
It just happens to be cloudy.
If it's a clear night, can they not call Batman?
I don't know.
They can only call Batman on cloudy nights.
I'm just thinking more of like the janitorial staff of the Gotham PD, because how did he get into the Gotham PD to retrofit that particular light with that particular type of branding? And who saw him?
Just got like Amazoned over to them.
Yeah, and it just sort of fades out, and it's like, oh, and off to fight the next guy, and that's the end of the movie. And then I just watch the credits because, again, started at the beginning, goes all the way through the movie, and it comes back in at the credits again. The score to this, if you've never heard it, just look up the score to this movie on like YouTube or whatever, and just listen to the score. The score is amazing. The score is a good portion of the appeal of this movie to me, anyways. Especially, like I said before, when you see that it's been like clipped and sampled into other Batman movies to give you that nostalgia bit. So it's really good. I hate looking back on a movie that I know I love so much because, as I said at the beginning, it sort of sits in the mind, and you have a picture of what that movie is in your mind, and then you watch it again, and you see all the cheesy things, all the corny things, all the things that don't make sense. But at the same time, I need a co-host like you that's seeing it for the first time to have the conversation that we've had tonight. It's good.
I've been shitting on it a lot, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it has its silly, crazy moments, and the fact that Batman's love interest is fucking crazy ass woman who's stalking him and being like, but we have to love each other after like one date.
She's a stalker. Like,
yes.
If you did a character study on this movie from Vicki Vale's perspective, she is a stalker.
Yes.
And the only person that offers any real jokes to this movie, pun intended, is Knox. Because the guy that plays the Joker, the guy that is, in his own mind, funny, is actually pretty fucking terrifying. So, Alexander Knox is the comedic heart of Batman 1989.
And he doesn't get nothing.
He doesn't get nothing. As I say, we're going to go through and we're going to be looking at it from the Joker perspective, Jack Nicholson playing this really, really unstable, like, I'm going to have my arm around you and you're going to be like my number one guy, and tomorrow you're going to be on a float with me, and because I happen to be a little bit frustrated, I'm going to ask you for your gun and then shoot you.
Yeah, as somebody that since I was introduced to Batman, you know, not this movie, but the quote bad ones.
Yeah.
My first into the Joker was the like a lot of people, the animated Joker, the animated Batman series with Mark
Hamill.
Mark Hamill as the Joker, and I feel like, I mean, that one came first, and then I think the animated series did, and I think this Jack Nicholson Batman more is what I think of the Joker based on my first Joker experience being the animated series.
Okay. So, and this is kind of a weird question to ask, because the next movie we're talking about is a movie that we've both seen. When we get on to The Dark Knight, and knowing that we're now leaving this movie behind, where would you say the comparisons are going to be between Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger?
I don't know, the Jack Nick, like I said, this Batman movie, especially when it comes to the Joker, I feel like is a balance, so a level of balance between being like comic Joker, like total like campy Joker, and like realistic-ish Joker.
Okay.
And I think the now I forget his name. You just said it. The newer Joker,
Heath Ledger.
The Heath Ledger Joker is, I think, them trying to have a gritty, realistic Joker, and including the newest Joker as well, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker as well. That's like they're trying to make this character like realistic, based in our world.
Yeah, that's they get about halfway there with Heath Ledger, and then
comics aren't I feel like when it comes to comics, you know, you can be a little wacky and stuff. It's not about being realistic to our world. I mean, so I'm totally okay with my Joker being, you know, comical. It's a comic.
Yeah. I think when we get done this whole thing, and I'm making a prediction about our own podcast, I think the next one we do with Heath Ledger's Joker is going to be the one that sticks out, because it's the only one that doesn't get an origin story. Or it definitely plays around with giving you like 3 or 4 different origin stories. I think this one becomes more grounded because we see him become the Joker, and obviously with Joaquin Phoenix movie, the whole movie is him becoming the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I think the next edition we do in this trilogy is going to be the odd one out.
Well, and I will say, if you're trying to make Joker like really actually terrifying, which, you know, the Jack Nicholson Joker is, they're different kinds of like quote terrifying. This one's not, I wouldn't say he's scary just because how the movie is and everything.
Right.
But this Joker is like, you know, comically insane. Like almost to like semi a Deadpool level of like comically insane. Like he's just crazy. And that one, the newer Joker, I lose
Heath
it
Ledger?
every time. The Heath Ledger Joker, I forget, it's like his name comes in one ear and slips out the other. The Heath Ledger Joker is more like disturbing Joker, like a, you know, a more realistic portrayal of somebody who's genuinely like sociopath, psychopath, insane.
I think the difference is and we're obviously going to get into this more in the next pod, but this Joker, while he does shoot people, and while he does have the one thing with the guy with the getting electrocuted and whatever, and he does have the one showy thing with the pen and all that sort of thing, he's not particularly violent. Like, the Heath Ledger Joker we will talk about, he
doesn't torture people. It's
yeah,
just
but he's
he'll kill people, and it's like he kills them, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
there's no psychological mind fuck.
Right, it's the difference, like, if you were talking about, like, regular human characters, it would be the difference between somebody shooting somebody from a distance, or somebody that's willing to, like, walk up to you and choke the life out of you. Like, I think...
Well, what makes me think is, Nicholson Joker reminds me of the animated Batman Joker, whereas, God damn it, every fucking time.
Heath Ledger?
Heath Ledger Joker, it left my mind again. The Heath Ledger Joker is more, I just had it. More of the, what's that comic? The really fucked up one with, where Joker, like, fucks with Commissioner Gordon's mind by, like,
the Killing Joke.
Yeah, the Killing Joke, yeah. That's what the Heath Ledger Joker is more like. It's more psychological than it is. I hate to say crazy, but it's more psychological than just deranged. Maybe.
That's fair.
Is that the word I'm looking for? You get.
I
makes
do.
Sense, right?
I do. It's different kinds of crazy, and it's different. Like, from an audience perspective, it's like what type of things are actually scary to you.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, you haven't actually seen the Joaquin Phoenix Joker yet.
I have not. I'm going to wait until
the weekend that we're doing it.
Yeah, till we review it.
Okay. It's not fun. I'll give you a heads up on that right away.
You told me that when you went and saw it.
Yeah. The closest comparison, and it's not even that close really. Imagine all the other X-Men movies, and then watching Logan.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, but like...
I liked Logan for what it was, though. It was really fucking sad, but...
No, it was just like you know how you walk out of Logan and it's a heavy movie, right?
Yeah.
Joker more so.
Okay.
So, we've gone quite a long time. Quite a long time. According to my clock, we've been talking for an hour and 58 minutes. I think we've been recording for most of that time. So... we'll do the thing. Tell them where to find you.
You can find me on Instagram at BlackCatFeline, and then you can find me on Twitter at BlackCatFeline as well.
For me, I'm going to put a quick note in for myself. Most of you guys that follow me on social media know I've set a small little goal for this show, especially for the YouTube channel. I want to get to 1,100 subs by the end of this year. This year's been pretty shitty, but if I can get to 1,100 subs, that'd be really great. So if you like what we're doing, if you like what I'm doing here with Kristen...
The year of 1,100 subs.
There we go. If you like what I'm doing here with Kristen with the movie stuff, if you like me doing the NXT stuff with Jake DeMarco, if you like me doing the AEW stuff with Guapo and some of the other odds and ends I throw in the middle, I would really appreciate a like, a sub, a share, tell somebody else that you might think wants to hear what I have to say, and make sure you tag me when you're sharing it so I can show you guys the proper appreciation. There are those of you out there that share this stuff all the time. I know who you are. You know that I appreciate what you guys do. Twitter at SpazPhoenix and at SpazPhoenix1. I'm keeping both addresses just in case. Instagram at SpazPhoenix. YouTube, Spaz Phoenix, any other podcast platform, Spaz Phoenix Podcast. Look for the Spaz Phoenix Podcast Facebook group on Facebook. And yes, I've been Kristen. I've been Kristen.
You've definitely not been Kristen.
It's tired
and
in
I've
here.
And I've definitely not been Spaz Phoenix.
Yeah, it's probably better for you. She's been Kristen. I've been Spaz. This has been Flix Fix. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, me and Kristen are out of here. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Don't